It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
And here is episode number 104. Welcome to the Rob Carson Show podcast. I hope you're having a glorious day. We, of course, are available now on tunein.com. Also on iTunes at The Rob Carson Show, SoundCloud at Rob Carson Show as well. Thank you for joining me no matter where you are. We have a ton of stuff to get to, including Kathy Griffin and the Donald Trump head bit that she did, and she has apologized. We'll share that with you. CNN didn't think it was a big deal. No surprise there. We're going to get into Maxine Waters being confronted by a constituent about impeaching Donald Trump, and she says a bunch of nonsensical BS. Nancy Pelosi said it's very hard to say the words President Trump. Democrat Party going to kick off a summer of resistance. That's coming up. Also, lots of campus madness. Evergreen State University students and the president there capitulating. They wanted a day where all of the white faculty and students would leave the campus. One professor said, no, that would be racist. He is under fire. He is not being supported by the president of the university. He's being physically threatened. And some people are calling for the pulling of funding for Evergreen State, and I freaking agree with it. So we're going to get onto that. All of that coming up on the podcast today. So plenty of stuff that I think you'll find quite entertaining and informative. I want to mention Dr. Alex Nelson. He's a chiropractor in the Kansas City area, and he does some miraculous things. You know, there's a lot to be said about chiropractic adjustment and some of the services they offer. I have found tremendous relief for a variety of ills when it came to chiropractic adjustment. One time I thought I was having a heart attack. My left arm was bothering my jaw. I went in, I had my neck adjusted, and it went away. The traditional sports medicine doctor that I had seen, he said, no, you need a nuclear stress test. There's something wrong with your heart. He was wrong. He was wrong. Now, I'm not saying you have to forsake traditional medicine for chiropractic, but there are things that chiropractic can do that are not invasive, and they work. All right? Dr. Alex Nelson and his practice love taking care of families for aches, pains, but also maintenance of your body. You can help with migraines, headaches, back pain, low back pain, shoulder pain, carpal tunnel, hip pain, knee pain, all of those things. They work on athletes, police, firefighters, other first responders who, they're hard on the body. All right. So what you need to do is just check out fountainoflifechiro.com, fountainoflifechiro.com, or you can call this number, 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. They're at 8335 North Congress Avenue in KC. Fountainoflifechiro.com. So Kathy Griffin, she is she's Kathy Griffin. You know who Kathy Griffin is. She's an aging comedian who's not attracting a lot of attention anymore. She appears on New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest, generally says something incredibly... Well, no, actually, she's on with Ryan Seacrest. She's not that big a deal. She's on CNN. All right, so she's on CNN, and generally she says things that are wholly inappropriate, rude, offensive, etc. She makes a fool of herself quite frequently. That said, she's kind of made a career out of making a spectacle of herself. Well, she did it, and if you haven't seen it, make sure to check out my Facebook page at Rob Carson Show. I'm sure you have. But there is a video of her raising Donald Trump's severed head, bloody face, bloody hair. It's sickening. It's sickening. And I'm not feigning outrage here. This is sickening. If it were Hillary Clinton's bloodied head being raised in front of the camera in an ISIS-like pose, which is what they're known to do, Daniel Pearl, anybody, there's nothing redeeming. There's nothing artistic about this. There's certainly nothing funny about it. This morning, a buddy of mine online who's a talk show host, Rusty Humphreys, asked his followers, should she be put in jail? I'm sure there are some ramifications for this with the Secret Service. I'm not sure exactly what it is. And I'm not even sure if I'm a big fan of jailing someone for doing this. But this is the hate speech that the left is so easy to cry when it just someone shows up for a rally. All right? Just for saying that you're a Donald Trump supporter, that's hate speech. Just for being a conservative on campus, that's hate speech. And what that generally means, and I've said this before, that means that the left cries hate speech when they hate your speech. Okay, when they hate what you have to say, that is hate speech. That's all it is. That's all it is. So Milo Yiannopoulos, Ann Coulter, Ben Shapiro, on and on and on. It's just speech that they hate. They are intolerant of it because they cannot stand to hear an opposing viewpoint. They retreat to their safe spaces. If you even get on campus, by the way. Frequently, they'll just shut you down by wrecking the place, like they did with Milo Yiannopoulos at Berkeley. Sickening. That said, Kathy Griffin has done an apology, a mea culpa, if you will. But first, I want to play this. This is CNN panel. I guess it's Tuesday. Jake Tapper, a political reporter, Molly Ball, was there. And a couple other people talking about the incident. And, of course, they poo-pooed it like it was nothing because it happened to a Republican.
And I want to warn you out there, especially if you have kids, you might find what we're about to show you a little bit graphic. It's not an actual photograph, but let's show it to you now. It's a depiction of comedian Kathy Griffin, who does work for CNN on New Year's Eve. She's pictured in this new photo shoot holding a bloody Donald Trump head. It's pretty disgusting, and I can't imagine how anybody would think that's appropriate. Donald Trump Jr. is out there saying this is now considered to be acceptable discourse by the left, Molly.
Who is saying it's acceptable discourse exactly?
Don Trump Jr. said that.
Who is saying it's even discourse? I mean, I have a hard time bringing myself to care about something like this. I think it just speaks to the need to see themselves as a victim that they have, that they're constantly being persecuted. It's
because they are, Molly. That's because they are. All right? 95% of the coverage on this lousy network is negative against Donald Trump. And by the way, this is dangerous speech. To do something like this, you want to talk about inflammatory, dangerous. People were raising hell because there were some crosshairs on a website with Sarah Palin a few years ago when she was helping out in congressional races. And there was holy hell being raised. This is a severed, bloodied head of the leader of the free world, whether you like it or not. He's the duly elected president of the United States. Yeah.
Constantly.
The Trumps you're talking about.
The Trump people are constantly having to point to the elites who are looking down on them. Of course, like comedians and celebrities say dumb stuff and do dumb stuff. And
they just say dumb stuff and they do dumb stuff.
And violence is not appropriate. But I just don't think that that's the source of President Trump's problems.
Okay, that's a non sequitur. Makes no sense whatsoever. That this is not the source of Donald Trump's problems. I don't think Donald Trump was saying it is the source of his problems. It's merely an outrageous act performed by a traditional, typical leftist, along with a barrage of events like this happening nationally. Pro-Trump rallies being attacked. Pro-conservative rallies or speeches on campus being shut down violently. Molly, honestly, what an idiotic. Let me hear that again. This is an idiotic thing to say.
Of course, like comedians and celebrities say dumb stuff and do dumb stuff, and violence is not appropriate. But I just don't think that that's the source of President Trump's problems.
Steve?
I think we've got much bigger issues to focus on than Kathy Griffin.
Jen, do you want to weigh in at all?
Agreed.
Yeah. You know what? When it's a Republican, it's no big deal. If it were Hillary Clinton's head or Barack Obama's head, then heads would roll, for lack of a better expression. Here's Kathy Griffin's apology. Now, apparently, she doesn't think that it's the scandal is water off a duck's back, like the CNN panel does. But apparently, she realizes what she did was very, very wrong.
I sincerely apologize. I am just now seeing the reaction of these images. I'm a comic. I crossed the line. I moved the line, then I cross it. I went way too far. The image is too disturbing. I understand how it offends people. It wasn't funny. I get it. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career. I will continue. I asked your forgiveness, taking down the image, going to ask the photographer to take down the image, and I begged for your forgiveness. I went too far. I made a mistake, and I was wrong. I sincerely...
Well, she apparently got the message. I don't know where we go from here as far as the discourse in the country. It's vile, it's vulgar, it's sickening. And where else are we going to go with this? How much further are we going to go down this road? Keith Ellison, he's the radical congressman from the state of Minnesota. He's apparently they have rolled out, I should say, the Democrats, their resistance summer with house parties featuring Keith Ellison. Boy, doesn't that sound like fun? That just sounds like fun. Now, this is what the Democrat Party has going for right now. They don't have a plan for 2018. They think that it's going to be a landslide. It's going to be, they're going to sweep themselves back into the Senate, back into the House without a plan, without a vision, only stopping Donald Trump's agenda. This, according to DNC Deputy Chairman Keith Ellison. This summer, we're investing in all 50 states, connecting with every single voter in real life on issues that matter to them. Not with every voter, actually, just with the radical groups, including MoveOn.org. From healthcare to education to jobs and economic opportunity, none of the solutions are available right now. It was the first major event by the Democrats since the election of Tom Perez, who is a radical leftist. And honestly, just a tool, just a tool. So this started over the weekend. Quote, the best way for Democrats to turn the hashtag resistance into electoral wins is by doing one thing, organizing. And resistance is a violent language, by the way. When you talk about the resistance, the French resistance, and God bless them. But this is a violent sounding movement, a resistance summer, resistance. That's revolutionary. But, if you were a conservative group and use that kind of language, you would be banned. Mayor of Portland wants a pro-Trump rally canceled because it's an alt-right rally. This is a term that was just made up. I mean, and I've been doing, writing for Limbaugh since 1990. I've been following politics equally as long. I've never heard the expression alt-right until the election cycle when somebody made it up. So anyway, the website Resistance Summer Move On Mobilizer is being put up by MoveOn.org. And this is a soulless movement. I mean, it's a soulless movement. It is an angry movement. It is a Bolshevik movement. There is no attempt to make the country better. It is only destroying the presidency of a duly elected president. Anger never wins. Anger never wins in situations like this. So, we will see what happens. Maxine Waters, who's another just piece of work, has been talking a lot about and just flapping her 78-year-old jaws about impeaching Donald Trump. You've heard her talking about this, and she's Looney Tunes. She's bat guano nuts. She has no, and I think this is unprecedented. No desire to work at all with the president. Complete rejection of a president 130 days into his term. They were talking impeachment before he was the candidate. Well, she was confronted by one of her constituents, YouTube user Melanie Bell, and approached her asking the congresswoman about, her resistance to Donald Trump and why. Here's the exchange between bat guano crazy Maxine Waters and this YouTuber.
So tell me what you want to talk about.
Well, I just want to talk about your representation in Washington regarding our president as well.
I can't stand him.
I understand.
He's the most horrible man I've ever seen in my life.
Love my...
It doesn't matter if you can't stand him or not. You are a duly appointed. I'm using the word duly a lot today. I need to stop that. You represent this woman too.
President, very much.
I'm glad you do.
I respect your position, my position as well.
I'm glad
but
you
I
do.
also want to know why you aren't representing me in Washington by opposing the president.
Your president is a dishonorable, lying man. He mocked a journalist. I've never seen a grown man do that. He talked about grabbing women by the private parts. He lied.
By the way, that was a conversation that was recorded illegally and sat on by NBC for a decade.
It's every day. He's in bed with Putin and the Russians.
You have no evidence whatsoever. God, this woman is nuts.
About oil. And
about oil. We're unleashing oil in this country at a greater rate than ever before. We're killing the Russian oil industry.
Everybody around him are allies with the Kremlin and with the oligarchs of Russia. They're going to take us down.
She doesn't even know what the hell she's talking about.
You mentioned comments about him being a liar.
He is a liar.
And grabbing a woman's pussy,
That's
which
right.
I don't think he ever did.
He said it.
I go back to...
Well, I think Bill Clinton did it.
What grown man talks like that?
I go back to President Clinton.
I don't care about Clinton.
Oh, no. Now, you're willing to bring up a conversation that was taped illegally on a bus with an Access Hollywood reporter in 2008, but you can't bring up Bill Clinton's past. Okay.
I care about this. Listen, I'm going to work every day until I get him impeached.
I'm going to work every day to make sure that he isn't and that you're impeached.
But that's okay.
Thank you so much,
Excuse
Ms.
me.
Waters. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You cannot
for
impeach a
not
woman of
representing
Congress.
me in office. Thank you so
That's
much.
okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So she said that she'd work every day to have Maxine Waters impeached. Maxine Waters says you can't be impeached. She can be censured. She can be jailed. She can be voted out of office. Unfortunately, that probably won't happen because she's a lifer. She's a lifer, guys. That's the thing that that's what the past election was all about. It was about people who are sick and tired of being told how to live their lives by people who spend their entire lives doing it. Maxine Waters is one of those people. And there for a very long time. She's 78 years old. She ought to be working in Walmart. I like the band Tool. They've got a couple of pretty good songs. Unfortunately, I don't believe they're on iTunes yet, which is a shame because I really wanted to. They got a song called Sober that is really good. It's a great workout song. I'm kind of a rock dude. But Maynard James Keenan is the lead singer, and he was in a Boston show. And it's not very often you hear this from the entertainment industry, but he went after, and this is Memorial Day weekend, he went after snowflakes in the audience. Here is the lead singer of Tool talking to the audience.
We have the privilege to do that because of active and former law enforcement and military defending our right to do so.
There you go.
Those of you who are law enforcement and military, your job is to defend our right to act like whiny, entitled snowflake assholes.
Yes!
Myself being one. Snowflakes, your job is to respect them fucking doing that for you. Yes! Divided we fall. Don't believe the hype, dum-dums. We're all in this together.
Wow. All right. I like that. I like that. A lot of snowflakes in the country. Oh, by the way, we do have a shirt that is available on one of two sites, teepublic.com and teespring.com. So teepublic, teespring.com, and just look for Conservatees. We have one that says, my kid is not a snowflake. It says, my kid is, and then there's a snowflake. T-shirts, we've got mugs, we've got stickers, we've got hoodies, onesies for the baby, some politically incorrect stuff, some non-political stuff. I think you're really going to enjoy it, and Father's Day is coming up, okay? So just remember, teespring.com, teepublic.com if you want to check those out. Oh, this Portland white supremacist who killed a couple people, a couple of train passengers who were trying to protect a Muslim teenage girl. The guy's name is Jeremy Joseph Christian. His one surviving victim appeared in court as well. This guy's a nutbag. He killed two people. Rick Best, he's a retired Army platoon sergeant, 23-year-old. Taliesin Mesh, I guess, this kid. He had just apparently become completely unhinged. He's been unhinged for a number of years. When he was 21 years old, he's 35 now. I think he was arrested for armed robbery. Just a case. You know, we talk about hate crimes in the country, and there are a lot of fake hate crimes out there. There are a lot of fake hate crimes on campus. There is a desire by some to drag us back to 1968 or back to 1919, depending on what your movement is all about. This is a real one. This is a real one. And here's the a-hole in court.
Free speech or die, Portland. You got no safe place. This is America. Get out if you don't like free speech.
95439 from the Metropolitan Public Defender. With me is Dean Smith, 92464-7, also from the Public Defender's Office. We're appointed by OPDS to represent this defendant. At this time, I'll tell you that we can acknowledge receipt of a 9.
Death to the enemies of America. Leave this country if you hate our freedoms. Death to Antipas.
No, that's fine. You can just give me the
I'm not going to say his name anymore. Here's the paper. Goodbye. Go to hell. Rot in prison. You ruined your life. You ruined a couple of other lives. Your name will not be spoken again. Okay. This is some kind of good news. I like James Mad Dog Mattis. He was on Face the Nation on Sunday. And if you were in the military, I would hope that you feel supported by this president, this administration. General Mattis said that they are using annihilation tactics against ISIS, focused on completely surrounding the militants instead of forcing them to move from place to place. Our strategy is to accelerate the campaign against ISIS. It is the threat to all civilized nations. And the bottom line is we are going to move in and accelerate it in reinforced manner, throw them on their back foot. Our intention is that the foreign fighters do not survive the fight to return home to North Africa, to Europe, to America, to Asia, to Africa. We're not going to allow them to do so. We're going to stop them there and take apart the caliphate. This is so great. Taking the gloves off of our military, taking the gloves off the soldiers who are fighting, who are not necessarily U.S. soldiers who are fighting ISIS in places like Iraq. U.S.-backed forces in Iraq have launched an offensive to reclaim the last ISIS-held districts in Mosul. The assault on the outskirts of the western part of the city started Saturday. The militants are expected to put up at least one last fight before coalition forces move in. Go in there, kick ass, take names. F this rules of engagement crap from the Obama administration. Because a lot of people had their hands tied and some died because of it. Those include our soldiers. It's just a fact. Just a fact. Barack Obama was speaking to a European audience over the weekend about building a wall. Now, he's got a mansion that he's renting in Washington, D.C., and when he's finally off this 4-month, 5-month, 6-month vacation, then he's going to move into the house, and they are actually constructing a wall there. So a wall's okay for him. You know, this is typical elitist Washington, D.C. stuff. And I've said this before. There is a let-them-eat cake mentality when it comes to the Washington elites. We drive in motorcades of very large SUVs. You ride in a crappy little unsafe car. We fly in private jets. You will sit in coach, also known as cattle class. Okay. We will eat Kobe beef and drink 600 bottles of wine in the White House. You will use your food stamps, your SNAP card, and be happy with it. And now a wall protect you little people in the United States, to protect you from criminal elements streaming across the southern border, to protect your jobs. I mean, honestly, no. The wall is okay to protect me, but it is racist if it's protecting you. Here he is talking and preaching, as he always does in a very academic way, to a crowd about the wall.
In the eyes of God, a child on the other side of the border is no less worthy of love and compassion than my own child. We can't distinguish between them in terms of their worth and their inherent dignity. In this new world that we live in, we can't isolate ourselves. We can't hide behind a wall.
I posted this on Facebook and Twitter. There's another barrier that separates some children from us. And in the eyes of God, according to Mr. Obama, we can't discriminate against them. Let's listen to his comment again, and I'll tell you what I mean.
In the eyes of God, a child on the other side of the border is no less worthy of love and compassion than my own child.
Okay, so say, for instance, you've got a border wall, okay, and the border wall is 30 feet tall and whatever. There's a much thinner wall between an unborn child and you and me. All right, there's a much thinner wall. It's a fleshy wall. It's an inch thick, maybe. That's what separates that child from us. That's what separates that child from children who have been born. Where's the compassion for that? That child is a mass of flesh that doesn't deserve the same things that you have, right? And I said that, like, we survive the womb. This is another elitist, leftist thing. We survive the womb, but you are a choice. It's remarkable. It really is. Let's move on to Evergreen State University, and let's hope that these universities like this and the faculty members and presidents and chancellors that capitulate to these children throwing a tantrum for some perceived slight, even though they're going to an expensive little school called Evergreen State University. This all started, and I mentioned earlier, this all started when one professor refused to leave campus because he's white for a day. They just wanted all the white people off campus for a day. Now, what they had done in previous years is people of color would leave the campus for a day, and it would show how important they are and all that stuff. Okay, great. I want to see them do that with Jewish people in Hollywood. Shut down the place. But this guy said, no, this is inherently racist, and I'm not going to do it. Now he's being called a racist. Now he's being threatened. I'm going to get to the latest audio from these spoiled, entitled children that should have been spanked when they were growing up, but now just need to be booted out of school. We'll get to that in a second. I'm going to talk real quick about Grass Monsters KC. If you are considering a new mower, all right, and you want one that'll last you pretty much the rest of your life, consider either a Dixie Chopper or a Hustler mower. Dixie Chopper made in Indiana. They've got a variety of choppers available to you. The Z2, that's the residential. Now, you could go up to a commercial mower depending on the size of your lot. If you're mowing the church parking lot, you might, or not parking lot, but the church yard, you might need that. If you have a lot of acreage, then you might consider getting a Silver Eagle or a Black Hawk HP, which is brand new and spectacular. Can't even keep them in stock. Or the Excalibur, which is awesome. If you want to go with a Hustler, the Hustlers, these are terrific mowers. You can get a Raptor Unlimited 3-year, no hour limit warranty on this. Same way with the Raptor. They've got the Fast Track. They've got the X1. You got to go see them. All right, it's grassmonsterskc.com. Grassmonsterskc.com. They're at 5520 Raytown Road. And if you go there, or if you call them, just ask to talk to Andrew Cook. Andrew Cook is the owner. He's a friend of mine, and he'll take care of you. All right, grassmonsterskc.com. Okay, Evergreen State protesters are demanding now not only that this professor be fired who refused to leave because of the color of his skin. Honestly, what the hell? Now they're saying that no homework. No homework because apparently the protests are getting in the way of homework and projects and things that are due. And consequently, they are telling the university president they're not going to do them. Make it so. Here's an exchange of some of these protesters in the president's office, by the way, where they're staging a sit-in. And by the way, let me just say this. These kids are creating a crisis where there was none. They're a generation that has not faced war or real racism or real sexism, but they need to create a crisis so they can play victim. Here's the audio.
All of us are students and have homework and projects and things due.
I know.
Have you sent an email out to our faculty letting them know?
No.
What's been done about that?
Cake
We're all here on our own time.
Yeah, eating cake, girl. That is the first thing I'll do. I have not done it yet.
That's the president, by the way.
So they need to be told that these assignments won't be done on time. And we don't need to be penalized for that.
I don't know the names of all the students here.
We'll just send it to all the faculty.
You ought to get the names of every one of those little bastards and have them booted from the freaking university. Grow some balls, for crying out loud.
Faculty matter. You're black, president, black, so I know you can do it, Joe. Yeah, Joe.
Listen to the attitude.
I love your confidence in me. Hold on. Sorry. I speak with my hands.
Dude, the faculty need to know what's going on so that y'all can't keep doing this pointing fingers. And since I know
You act like we don't have technology, yo. Are you listening?
You act like we don't have technology, yo.
This is it. This is how you can help.
Please.
You please, George. You please. Come on.
I want to see these people try this. And these, by the way, are not all African-American students. There are a bunch of kids there who are always there to support the supposed victims. But there is apparently some sort of perceived racism on campus that really doesn't exist, by the way.
Okay, we trying to listen. Go ahead.
Just trying to talk.
Okay. Just go ahead. Just go ahead and say it.
This is the daycare center taking over, you know, and then the adults just refusing to be adults.
I want to go to work on these with Wendy, the other people here, the faculty.
Oh, faculty, y'all stand?
I need some privacy, folks. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I have claustrophobia.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
And we endure hate crimes on your campus every day to be there.
We endure hate crimes on your campus every day. Sure you do.
That students of color have to work in threatening environments every day.
Whatever.
All of us are students and have homework and projects and things due.
Stop playing. God. Now, Bridges, apparently this guy, the president is George Bridges. And he attempted to use his hand to gesticulate during this, and another protester told him to put his hands down. Throughout the protest, students noticed the president's ability to gesture was when expressing himself. They stopped it. When he states that he has claustrophobia, the students compare it to the racism they allegedly experience on campus. Okay, so he's being surrounded by people who are in his face, who are impolite, uncivil, and says, hey, you know, I need to be alone. I have claustrophobia. And the only thing that they can say, essentially, students of color have to work in threatening environments every day. So they're admitting they're threatening him. You know, I don't know, guys. This really bothers me because my son's going to be going to college in a year, and he's never had a racist thought. He, you know, he's been surrounded by people of every race, of every color, of every creed for his entire life. He was a minority until his freshman year in high school, at school, and this just sickens me because he's going to be punished for something that he didn't do. And I hope that there is a backlash finally against these spoiled, entitled brats. And I hope that somebody starts saying, you are not in a position to demand anything. Go to your classes. If you attempt to do anything disruptive to the operation of this university, if you attempt to be destructive in any way, shape, or form, you will be summarily removed. You will be booted off campus. Your academic career will be done here, and this will go on your record. It will follow you wherever you decide you want to try to go to school again. Over the weekend, a New York City chapter of Black Lives Matter hosted an exclusively black Memorial Day party called the People's Turn Up and, quote, unapologetically black party. The event's Facebook page boasted that the festivities were only for those who identify as black. Clear your calendar. It's a Lithuanian You're invited to take part in black festivities. Bring yourself. We got you. We got us. Note on the events discussion board made it quite clear. When we say the people, we mean black people. Being intentional around being around black people is an act of resistance. This is an exclusively black space. So if you do not identify as black and want to come because you love black people, please respect the space and do not come. One of the event's moderators responded that security would be in place and rules would be enforced. We have security in the space along with vibe checkers, whatever the hell that is. It will not be tolerated, and if this happens, individuals can be asked to leave. This all stems from the Black Lives Matter movement. This all stems from the crisis in the black community that nobody is willing to admit. I've been talking about it for at least 25 years on the radio. There's a crisis in the black community. You know the statistics, 70% abortion rate in inner cities. You've got a murder rate 10 times the average in the inner cities. Young black men are dying or incarcerated at a gigantic rate. It's not society's problem. Well, it is society's problem, but at the same time, the decay and destruction of the African-American family, there are a lot of reasons for it. And there's a point where you've got to go, okay, let's be introspective and turn this around. That's not happening. Rather than looking at the issue with Mike Brown in St. Louis, attempting to steal a gun from a police officer, charging the officer after strong-arm robbing a convenience store, and then going, there's nothing to see over here with Mike Brown. There's nothing to see with his family and his upbringing. There's nothing to see the fact that he was stoned out of his mind and spends most of his days like that and violently attacked a police officer. No. It's police brutality. And that has blossomed into an entitled victim mentality among a variety of people. And when you get in the real world, kids, you're going to be facing a whole, you don't demand things in the real world. I want to wrap things up on a light note. I saw something over the overnight, actually. I was, of course, not able to sleep, but the most misspelled words in America, the most misspelled words in America, the 90th annual Scripps National Spelling Bee at National Harbor is taking place. And to honor the event, Google has dug up its own database to see, what Americans are misspelling. You want to know the most misspelled word in California? In California, of all places, beautiful. Yeah. All right. Here are some other ones. Oh, in Kansas, diamond. Colorado, it's tomorrow. So they just can't remember it. They're all high. In Texas, it's maintenance. In Oklahoma, it's patient. North Dakota, it's dilemma. South Dakota, college. They can't spell college. Idaho, quote. I mean, honestly, the word quote, they can't spell it. Missouri, it's maintenance. In Arkansas, it's Chihuahua. Tennessee, it's chaos. In Illinois, it's appreciate. Wisconsin, it's Wisconsin. What? Really? Indiana, it's hallelujah. Let's see. In Delaware, it's hallelujah. In Maryland, it's special. Okay. Oh, in Florida, it's receipt. Receipt is the word there. People misspell. Okay, that's going to do it for episode 104. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Just want to make sure, check out the podcast, download it if you would, please, because every download means something to people who would potentially advertise for this radio program. Do want to thank our sponsors on the radio program, including GrassMonstersKC.com, GrassMonstersKC.com. Also want to thank FountainOfLifeCairo.com, FountainOfLifeCairo.com. If you have aches or pains or you feel like you need an adjustment, they can take care of a lot of ills. Dr. Alex Nelson can take care of a lot of ills. The number 816-741-4711, 816-741-4711. Tell her you heard it on the Rob Carson Show podcast. $30 veterans and veterans family adjustment fees. All right, so if you're a veteran or a veteran's family, they will do a chiropractic adjustment for $30. Most insurance, by the way, covers it. FountainOfLifeCairo.com. Take care. God bless. See you back here for episode number 105 soon.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.